Welcome to episode 673 of the Entertainment 2.0 podcast, brought to you by thedigitalmediazone.com. I'm Josh Pollard.
And I'm Richard Gunther, and this is the show that puts you in control of your favorite movies, music, shows, and games. And I am live, but we're not really live tonight, from CES in Las Vegas.
Man, do I wish I was there with you right now.
Man, do I wish you were here with me right now.
That would have been a lot more enjoyable. But I am really glad that you were able to make time for this. We've been chatting on Zoom for like 20 minutes without any internet issues.
Yeah.
All of this is kind of magical. So I'm just excited we get to do this at all. Tonight, this week, or at least in this episode, we are doing things differently. It's CES. You probably expected that. There's been a bunch of stuff. Richard is here for this one, so we're going to focus on the things that Richard knows well. So we're going to focus on TVs. He saw most of them, and we're going to focus on some audio stuff. I will produce a separate episode for all of the gaming stuff, even though Richard got to tour the Razer booth, yet another thing that I'm very jealous of. But we'll save the gaming for a separate episode. So we'll dig into the news in a second. If you want to email us, our email address is entertainment20@thedigitalmediazone.com. But with that, Richard, let's get right into TVs. It's always our favorite topic from CES. And whenever we're talking about new TVs or reviews of TVs, we always go to the king of TV news, and that's David Katzmaier from CNET. So I started organizing my notes when I saw that Katzmaier put up a post about his 4 best TVs from CES. And I said, cool. Like, I basically agree. I was surprised by one. We'll go through those and then talk about some other notable TVs. Let's not start with the surprise. Let's start with the one that we expected to love.
Okay. Right.
The LG G5 OLED, the latest generation. Some people love the G5 the most. Some people might love the M5 the most. The only real difference between them is the M5 definitely has that wireless connection box. The G5, it is essentially the top tier box or top tier TV, excluding that wireless connection box. And this year, well, I mean, it's not really anything mind-blowing. TVs continue to be evolutionary, not revolutionary,
right.
for the year on year over really the last few years. So with OLEDs, what do we expect out of them? We want more brightness because we've already got fantastic picture quality out of the OLEDs. The G5 still looks gorgeous, and it's brighter than last year. They say that it's 40% brighter than last year's, and last year's G4, I guess it would have been, was the brightest OLED TV available. So it's even brighter than last year's brightest TV. It also has better ambient light rejection. This is something that isn't talked about a ton, but both LG and Samsung, who we'll probably talk about next, emphasize this on their OLEDs. It's different screen technologies for essentially blocking out reflections on the screen, which really matters when you're watching dark things. And so this is supposed to be better at that. Also, brand new. We don't actually have availability or pricing on this yet. I would expect it to cost roughly what these things cost last year, maybe a little bit more. We'll see what tariffs do for all of these prices. But
right.
Richard, did you get to see the LG G5?
I did not get to see this specific TV, unfortunately. One of the things that was interesting in a lot of specifically in the Samsung and LG booths, is that while they normally are all about the TVs and then other stuff, this year the focus was other stuff. Oh, and then we have some TVs. It's almost as if TVs were just kind of sequestered to a small area and not the story that they wanted to tell this year. And I think that is the case. These companies are trying to demonstrate that they are more than just TV manufacturers. LG, of course, makes appliances. So does Samsung. So does TCL. Apparently, so does Hisense. So all of these companies are showing that they are kind of whole home electronics providers. Among those things are TVs. That's a long way of saying, no, I didn't get to see this. But I will tell you that the TVs that I saw in LG's booth were, as expected, absolutely beautiful.
So maybe you did see the G5 and you just don't know it.
Entirely possible.
All right. Well, unsurprisingly, the G5 looks to be the new king, replacing last year's model.
Yes. Now, before we leave this, can we talk about their gimmick? Because that's what they really wanted people to see. That's what was all over the place. Their gimmick this year is a transparent television. And you've probably already seen press releases or pictures of this. They have it configured in something of a metal frame, shelving cabinet space where it appears to just float the image in a quadrant of the space of this piece of furniture that's really just like a big metal frame, a box frame. It's cool looking. It's completely impractical. To actually watch it, they have an electric shade that goes up and blocks the light out of the back so that you can actually see pictures on it without seeing through the television. Because, of course, you can't watch a see-through television.
Right. That's why I didn't even put this in the notes. It seems absolutely ludicrous. Like, I could see this being used in like retail outlets for cool things, but it makes no sense as a consumer device.
Yeah, this has good commercial potential. It's not that this is terribly new technology, but they're trying to push it as a home technology, and I just don't see that happening. I don't think this is ever really going to fit in there. But man, that you know how they always have a big TV display with multiple screens and everything. This year it was the transparent TVs all circling a chandelier, and you could see the chandelier through the TV, and then there were all these effects happening on it. It was pretty cool.
I'm sure it was cool, but still doesn't really make any real sense. Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's the first of the gimmick TVs.
Oh, teaser.
Well, yeah, we will talk about another one.
Yeah. So let's jump to Samsung, especially since you've already mentioned the company. I've already mentioned them. Samsung closely following LG, again, with an OLED. So this year's model is the S95F. It's another great OLED. And again, they're focusing on a brighter picture. They're focusing on a matte screen technology to help with that ambient light rejection. And last year, the ambient light rejection on the Samsung TV was better than LG's. So once people like David Katzmeyer get these in the lab, then we'll find out whose new technology is doing a better job there. The other minor bump here, it does offer a 165 hertz refresh rate. I think the LG had the same thing. I don't know why I didn't put it in my notes. But again, looks really good. And that's the Samsung one. Did you get a chance to see this one, Richard?
This is another one I didn't get to see. So remember I said there were a few TVs in these booths. There were even fewer in Samsung's, except for the frame. Samsung wanted everybody to know that this year they improved the frame. I'm sure it has the AIs in it too.
Yeah.
But it's more beautiful than it was before. And I have to admit, it's a good looking TV. I think it's OLED now instead of just being LED.
It is Neo QLED, which is their like top
QLED.
of the line LED technology,
Okay.
but it's not OLED.
Okay. All right. It's a really good picture. Really good. It needs to have really good viewing angles. That's the trick with this, because it needs to look even as you move across it, walking around, and they do a very good job with that. So I think that's of note. These are popular already. So this will again be a popular upgrade to that line. As you know, I have an older version of this in my office that I absolutely love.
You're welcome.
Which is a good thing, since y'all talked me into it.
Exactly. Well, let's hit the other major manufacturer that you mentioned. It's the other big player in the TV space, TCL. Their new TV, it's the QM6K. Maybe, I don't know, this might be the most notable thing about this TV. You can pre-order it now. Like, it's going to be out very soon. Although it's TCL, which means unlike LG and Samsung and pretty much everybody else, they did not announce everything this year. They like to, we're going to announce some stuff at CES, and then a few months later, we're going to announce some more things. And then in the fall, we'll announce some more things.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's really confusing.
And they're saying as much. They even said when I spoke with them, this technology that we have in these TVs will, this is what we're announcing now. We'll have more announcements later this year.
Right. I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Yeah. So the main TV that they were showing off this time around is the QM6K. It is the follow-up to one of their great TVs from last year. This is mini LED. It is not OLED. I don't think TCL makes OLED TVs at all. This is mini LED, which is attempting to be as good as OLED, but it's not quite. The one area where mini LED beats out on OLED is the brightness. They are very, very bright, and this year it's even brighter. And it's got the features you're looking for. 144 hertz panel, with variable refresh rate for all of you gamers out there. It is Google TV, which I like a whole lot better than Roku. I mentioned it's available now, and, pre-orders now. And it's TCL, so the price is really good. While their size is from 55 to 98 inches, the 65-inch model is $1,000. And last year's model of this TV was also really, really good. And CNET from David Katzmeyer, it was their favorite TV for the money, which has really been, I think TCL's been winning that award from CNET for the last few years. So really, really good TVs for considerably less money than you're going to spend on a top-of-the-line OLED.
Yeah, I did see these. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful pictures. They also had a display showing the backlighting. So you may remember Toshiba and some of the other TV vendors used to do this when they were starting to do backlighting zones and kind of remove that LCD layer so that you could then see the LED backlighting and see how there were different zones of lighting. And they compare the old world to 2024's model to the 2025 model. And the difference is unbelievable. It's not like you have single LEDs that are of a certain brightness every centimeter or so, but there's clusters of LEDs. It's almost as if there's another entire screen behind the LCD screen, and every pixel on that screen can light up. Now, it's not quite that, but it's really, really close. And I have some pictures that I'd like to get something out on the blog, actually, to show this, because the comparison is just phenomenal.
That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, those are probably the expected ones, but there was a surprise. I was surprised that David Katzmeyer included this one in his list of 4 best TVs. It's the Displace TV. This is a 55-inch, although it also comes in 27 inches, OLED TV from a company you've never heard of, Displace. But the interesting thing here is it is a portable TV, and it has suction cups on the back of it, so you can just stick it to a wall or stick it to a television or a window. And he loved it. What did you think of it?
So first of all, it's an LG panel. It's an LG OLED panel.
Oh.
So it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful screen. This idea of sticking it somewhere is a little bit weird, but bear with me here. So it has legs. It has like the little legs that I'm trying to remember if it's Samsung or LG or who has kind of like a little upside down V pair of legs kind of near each end at the bottom. It has legs very similar to that. So it can just stand on its own on a TV stand. But then it also has hand grips on both the left and right side of this thing. I think it weighs like under 30 pounds or something total. And you can put your fingers in these hand grips, lift it, and then take it, say, outside, or put it on a wall somewhere in your home. Maybe it normally sits in a position that, yeah, this is where we have the TV, but it's not ideal viewing, so we really want it somewhere else. You can literally pick it up and move it, and then press it against the wall, and it uses a suction, like a motor-driven suction mechanism to basically cup itself to the wall with 4 big motorized suctions that then are constantly monitoring the available, the vacuum that it's created to make sure that there is enough suction, and the pump will, remove a little bit more air if necessary to ensure that it's always stable there. They say it'll stick on smooth-ish surfaces. So drywall, no problem. Glass, absolutely no problem. Even some stone or stucco surfaces it can stick to. So that's that outdoor use case. It's possible that depending on what kind of siding you have, or if you have some sort of wall structure in like on a patio or something, that you may be able to take this out and mount it outside. Now, it's not like outdoor rated as far as I know or anything like that, but you're like, well, wait a minute. How does that work? This is a TV. It needs power, right? Well, it has batteries in it that will last for 8 to 10 hours on its own.
A battery-powered 55-inch television that will last for 8 hours, and it only weighs 30 pounds.
Yeah. Now,
wow.
I could be wrong on the weight, but I'm pretty sure that that's what he had said.
That's impressive.
So, all that's pretty cool. It also has a pop-up camera. So, it doesn't always stay up, but you can reach above it and press down on the top, and a little pop-up camera will come, so you can use it for conference calls or something like that. You could use it for calling friends on Zoom, whatever. So that's kind of cool too. Well, what about those legs, right? You have these tripod legs or just dual legs that are weird. They actually collapse so that when you press it against the wall, they kind of move forward and fold and then you can just press them up inside in the bottom. So they're out of the way, not visible, and it just looks like you have a TV on the wall with no wires going to it. Literally no wires going. It has its own proprietary OS. It has an HDMI input, so you can use a dongle or something, some other third-party streaming box if you wanted to, or a dongle would be the best for this type of device. And you can cast to it, but you cannot do AirPlay to it. That, I think, is a mistake. I think they need to figure out how to make that work. It also comes with a touchscreen phone-size controller that is also proprietary, which means that it may be difficult to use this with a universal remote. If you already have your own preferred remote, you might be out of luck. This might be something that you have to use their remote on. At least that's the impression that I was getting when I was talking with him. I asked him, will it work with third-party stuff? And he's like, no. No. Now, they also have a sound bar that can also stick to the wall. The sound bar, if you use the sound bar and stick it under the TV and have it connected to the TV, then you have up to 80 hours of viewing time and listening time on this television.
Wow.
Yeah.
And better audio.
And much better audio. So, what happens if the battery dies? At a certain point in time, it's not going to play anything anymore. It's not going to give you a picture. It's going to show you a message saying that the battery's low, you should remove it or recharge it. So it's not going to let you drain the battery to complete drainage and then it falls off the wall.
I mean, it could if you ignore it, right?
What happens if you ignore it? You may have seen videos about this, and this is why everyone's like, oh, this is such a gimmick, it's ridiculous. If you ignore it or you forget about it, it can last with the remainder of the battery for a couple months, just sticking in the wall. If it believes through its algorithm that it's not going to make it, there's a tether system that gently lowers the TV down to the ground. And then that suction mechanism that's against the wall will last another 3 months or so on the wall before the battery completely dies.
Right, because it has almost nothing left to hold up, right?
Yeah. Now, at that point, that will eventually fall.
Right. And on top of the TV, right?
Well, the TV's been lowered down, and it's designed to lower in a way that it will very, 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 very slowly tilt itself to lean and then lie flat. So, don't have it above sharp rocks. But I mean, they've really thought through this, and the technology is just really interesting. What is this going to cost? That's the interesting thing. You get all of that stuff that I just talked about: the remote, the sound bars, the TV.
Now this sounds like an infomercial, Richard. You get everything that I just mentioned. But if you call right now, we'll also throw in a proprietary remote.
Do you know what it costs, Josh?
I don't know what it cost.
Do you want to guess?
It seems like the sort of thing that must be stupid, like $10,000.
$5,000.
That's not horrendous for what that is.
Right.
I mean, it's still a lot for a 55-inch TV.
It is.
But that's pretty smart.
Yeah. It's not that bad. $5,000. I mean, Right. Who's spending $5,000 on a TV nowadays of that size? But for all it is, and if you have the right use case where it makes sense for you, this could solve some legit problems for something. They expect to be shipping at the end of March.
Okay, so we'll see it in the summer. Because it's CES.
Fair enough. CES dates. Yep.
Did they say the pricing on the 27-inch model?
No, I did not get a price on that. Because they might be saying what it is, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, because the 27-inch feels like it has more use cases. Because like that one, like that's the one you could stick on your fridge, and you could stick it on your fridge when you're hosting a Super Bowl party and have another TV
monitor
fridge, or in your kitchen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that seems even more useful.
Yeah.
That's really cool. They're
interesting.
I'm so impressed that so many people are like, no, this isn't just a gimmick, guys. This is actually pretty cool.
Oh, it's gimmicky. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I think it legit solves some problems for people.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. So let's move on to some other notable TV stuff. We already talked about the Samsung Frame Pro. Let's move on to Hisense. I know you love going to the Hisense booth. And this year, their big thing, and I literally mean their big thing, they have 2 new micro LED TVs at 116 inches and 136 inches. Again, these are TVs, not projectors. And They do that because it's micro LED, which is different than mini LED. We very rarely actually talk about micro LED because it's really not ready for the consumer space. But micro LED is the true competitor to OLED because micro LED, like OLED, does actually have an LED for every pixel. So you get the infinite contrast ratio that OLED gives you, but almost definitely from something that's far brighter. So they've got a 116 and 136 inch micro LED TV. They're not talking dates or pricing. You can expect these things to cost well over $20,000 though when they launch. Did you see these? And even if you didn't, what else did you see at the Hisense booth?
So I did see a bunch of big TVs. I don't know which ones these specifically were. All their TVs are looking beautiful. Remember when you used to go to the TCL booth and you used to go to the Hisense booth and you're like, oh, they're nice, but man, they don't live up to what they're showing in the other booths. That is so not the case now. Hisense and TCL are such big players in the US market now, in addition to the world markets that they served previously. They have absolutely gorgeous screens. Now, as you know, my favorite product of theirs is their laser projector system. And they had 2 things that they were showing. The latest iteration of the laser projection system. And I mean, think about it. I haven't been here for 5 years, so I have not seen this thing live for 5 years. I don't believe that they were at CEDIA when I was there a year and a half ago. So this is the first time I've seen it. 5 years of iteration and improvement. It looks like a freaking TV. This picture is so good now. And remember, this is the projector where you buy the projector and the screen. And the screen has evolved to be this nice framed, really thin, like not even, I think, a centimeter thick, that mounts on the wall right above the short throw projector. Absolutely gorgeous pictures, gorgeous color, really good brightness. Very, very impressive. That was the big update this year, was brightness. And they were also showing off a mini projector concept. So they had a projector that really, this is such a stupid analogy, but wasn't much bigger than, say, a loaf of bread. And it was projecting not as large a picture. What I was looking at was 110. Remember, the laser projectors are available in sizes from, I think, 100 or 110 to 150. This was a smaller image, maybe more like 80, but it was still nice, not as good as the other one, but for a small form factor, short throw laser projector, it was pretty cool. That's just a concept. They don't have anything planned yet. And thank you for saying that. Thank you for letting us know that this is just something that they're kind of experimenting with.
Cool. Like,
yeah,
it's been even longer since I saw it. And when I saw it, I was not impressed by that short throw projector. So
I remember.
Yet another reason why I wish I could have been there this year to see if it actually is as impressive as you seem to say it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another not a TV story, but a new technology story. And that is the HDMI organization has a new version of HDMI out. We've been using HDMI 2.1 for a while, and now there's HDMI version 2.2 being finalized soon. Its biggest thing is that it now supports 96 gigabits per second of transmission rate, which is double what HDMI 2.1 does. And you're like, okay, cool. Why do I need that much more bandwidth out of my HDMI cable? The reality is, maybe you don't. You almost definitely could use it with 8K when we eventually maybe get to 8K TVs in reality. But what it actually means is they can use that extra bandwidth to provide a more reliable and more stable connection. And with some new technology that really focuses on lip sync issues, where the audio and the video streams can get a little bit out of sync. And this new standard in HDMI 2.2 now is supposed to fix that problem. But like I said, the standard, it's still being finalized now. It should be available later this year. And there of course is a certification process for this, so you can look for Ultra 96 certified HDMI cables if you care about this new spec. And I like the fact that it has kind of a catchy name, right? Like, just saying Ultra 96 like that works. I don't know. I like it. I kind of like it as a branding thing. It's better than saying, it's 2.2. What? Come on.
Well, sure, but 2.2 lets you know, looking at it, that it is the one better than before, right? That it's the newest one. Ultra 96. We start branding these things, these names could be all over the place. Who knows what we're going to see? Is the next one going to be Ultra 128? Who knows? Right? Or is it going to be something completely different? Are we going to go, is this going to be
is it going to be the Xbox all over again?
Or is this like, I was thinking another Microsoft analogy. I was thinking, is this the Vista of the HDMI progression? I don't know. I mean, frankly, the only thing that I care about is the end result here for current uses, which is lip syncing. If they can fix that problem, which has historically plagued devices, particularly when you have like daisy chain devices and stuff like that, if this can address that issue, I'm all in.
Yeah. So get ready to buy yet another receiver and a new TV. And lots of new equipment. Right. It's not like this is going to be a firmware update, friends. So
right, but I mean, oh no, I'm going to have to buy another TV.
Maybe by then it'll be a TV that is suction cupped to your wall.
Probably not.
No, they're not big enough. All right. I've kind of avoided talking about AI because, of course, AI is in all of these TVs.
Everybody is.
We don't really know what it means. It's just like, AI is going to make it better. Okay, sure. But one that I thought was a little bit interesting is that Google is bringing Gemini to Google TV. And that could actually be kind of useful and cool. So I'm really just going to quote this article from Thurrott.com, which also has a quote from Google within it. But because you might be wondering, like, why do I need Gemini on a TV? And I think this short paragraph sums it up pretty well. They say, according to Google, adding Gemini models to Google TV will allow customers to search media and ask questions about travel, health, space, history, and more, with videos in the results for added context. It will be available to create custom artwork, control smart home devices while the TV's in ambient mode, and provide daily news overviews. That sounds actually useful. Like, I mean, we've had a few years where we could just say, "Hey G, play Star Trek," or I don't know, something, whatever. And it knows how to find that movie or TV show that you were looking for. But this essentially turns your TV into a AI-assisted smart display that's enormous and can give you context-aware YouTube videos and stuff like that. And, some of that custom artwork could be really cool too. I'm kind of excited about this.
Yeah, I think it has some good potential. I would also like to see them incorporate Gemini into search. Like, I'd like to be able to ask Google TV to, show me some movies like this one that I haven't seen yet. I'd like it to incorporate what it knows about my viewing history, because it's Google, it knows everything.
For sure.
And what kind of interests me, and try and pull all of that together into better recommendations when I'm looking for something, not just plain old search results. And with this sort of technology in there, that should be possible, but they're not really talking about whether it's going to be used for anything like that.
Yeah, but you have to imagine that's coming. And
so.
Gemini is their new conversational-based AI.
Right.
So
that
this is
gives
the way to
terrible search results on the Google homepage now. It's just making me crazy. But yes.
I do kind of like playing with Gemini Live on my phone, though. It does a pretty decent job.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. All right. So that's all of the TV related stuff. Let's jump to audio. Not quite as many stories here. And so we're going to start with one that's really audio, but for TVs. So Samsung has a history of not really wanting to necessarily play nice with Dolby. Samsung basically invented their own HDR video format a while ago. Well, over the last couple of years, they've been working with Google to now come up with their own replacement for Dolby Atmos. And it's a new standard that they're putting out now called Eclipsa, the Eclipsa audio format. And it's meant to be just that, an open alternative to Dolby Atmos, so that nobody has to pay Dolby to be able to use this spatial audio format. It's because it's built by Samsung with Google. It will be shipping on Samsung TVs and soundbars that are coming out this year. Now, not all of them. It's limited, but Samsung releases like 1 billion new TVs and soundbars every year. So it'll probably be on a bunch of them. And because it's open, it opens the door to increased adoption by other players. And because it's Google, one of those players that's already lined up to support this thing is YouTube. So YouTube creators will be able to use this technology to make their own spatial audio videos without having to pay Dolby the licensing fees for that. So, the big challenge here will be, will other device manufacturers and content producers start to adopt it? They might, because it's open and free, but they might not, because, man, Dolby is about as established as it gets. So that'll be the big question. And if we get to CES 2026 and we see anybody other than Samsung announcing TVs and speakers and sound bars and things like that support Eclipse, then, well, we'll all be in a better place, I guess. And in theory, be getting lower cost items because of it. But we won't really know, probably realistically, until this time next year before we'll really know if this format really stands a chance. Because if it's only on Samsung stuff, it's not going to get wide adoption from the content producers.
Yeah.
Did you get any extra marketing and stuff from Samsung about this while you were there?
I didn't even know about this. So it again, I didn't really say this in the show, but we talked about this in pre-show. If it didn't have to do with smart things, then for the most part, Samsung wasn't talking about it.
Wow. That's so weird. They really keep going back and forth on smart things.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some headphones. I love headphones, as everybody here knows. And JBL's got some really cool new ones. These are the JBL Tour 1 M3. And so these are large over-the-ear active noise cancellation wireless headphones. What separates these apart from everything else out there, Bose and Sony and everybody else, is they come with a what they're calling the Smart Audio TX transmitter. TX stands for transmitter. And it's basically a little box that can be plugged into either an analog audio source, like just something with a headphone jack, basically, like the in-flight entertainment system on an airplane, or the system on the treadmill at your gym, whatever. It'll also support USB-C input, though. And then plugging this little transmitter into that, then broadcast the audio to your headphones. Now, that's not revolutionary. We've had headphones that do this sort of thing for a while, and they're off-the-shelf devices that do this currently. What, of course, has me excited about this is that transmitter is an Auracast transmitter. So you plug this into whatever the audio source is, and anybody nearby with Auracast-enabled headphones can listen to that thing. It's not just your solitary Bluetooth headphones that are connected to that transmitter. It can be anybody, and that's pretty awesome.
Interesting. I have a question, though. What if you don't want it to be everybody?
Huh. I'm pretty sure Auracast can be password protected. So, because Auracast, the way that it works on most phones and stuff, it's like connecting to a Wi-Fi hotspot. And
got it.
So you probably, but I don't know. I still haven't gotten to use an Auracast device yet, for as excited as I am about all this stuff.
So that's an interesting point. While I'm here, I should try and seek out someone that might be demonstrating Auracast to see if I can get some experience with it.
Yeah. That's what I would be doing if I were there. But we have different priorities. So these things look awesome. The part that isn't so awesome is the price. These things are going to be $400 when they launch on April 13th, which is getting pretty pricey for some active noise cancellation headphones. I mean, it's still less than Apple's AirPods Pro Max, or whatever the heck those things are called.
Exactly. It's up there with what you would pay for those or Beats or other,
Yeah, I was thinking that like the Sonys and the Boses
high end
around $300, but maybe those are more expensive than I'm thinking. I don't know. These look cool. Here's another cool one. This is a brand that has been around forever. Is it pronounced Technics? Techniques?
No, it's Techniques.
Techniques. That's what I was thinking. So Techniques, not necessarily a brand we talk about all that often when it comes to headphones.
Right. Also, who knew they still existed?
Well, Panasonic bought them, so they still exist. To which you should respond, who knew Panasonic still existed?
No. I totally know Panasonic still exists. They have a big presence here every single year.
Yeah, they do.
They don't make TVs that much anymore, but lots of stuff for the home.
Yes, they do make a lot of home stuff. But not the glory days of their fantastic televisions from way back in the day. Okay, so Techniques. They have a new set of earbuds. These are, little earbuds that go in your ears instead of over. It's a follow-up to last year's model. These are the EAH AZ100. And I was going to say the main feature, but there's a lot, like these have all of the features, guys. This story has more bullet points than any other thing that we have in our notes. The main thing is the audio quality. They have new magnetic fluid drivers. Drivers are the speakers. It's a technology of speakers that you probably haven't really heard of much because I don't think there's very many people using this yet. I'm not fully up to speed on what all of this actually means and how it all works differently than regular speakers, but last year's model was the AZ80, and lots of outlets said these are the best sounding earbuds you can get. If audio quality is what you're looking for, get these Techniques AZ80s. Now they've got the AZ100, and Engadget is saying this is another sonic leap. These blow the AZ80s out of the water.
Wow.
For earbuds. It sounds like these things sound amazing, especially for earbuds. And then they have every feature you could possibly imagine. They have Dolby Atmos with the head tracking. They support LDAC, because if you're spending the money on high-end headphones, you care about what codecs they support. LDAC is the one you want. When Techniques was demoing these to people, they were using FLAC files to demo the audio, which is lossless audio files, of course. These things, of course, have active noise cancellation. They also have multi-point. That's not all that unusual. Most Bluetooth earbuds nowadays have multi-point, which allows you to connect them to multiple devices. What is unusual, I've never seen this before, 3-device multi-point. I can't tell you how much I would love 3-device multi-point. I want my earbuds to connect to my phone, my iPad, and my computer. Is that too much to ask for?
It's really funny you say that because as I prep for the show and put on my headphones, I had to go and intentionally connect these to my computer because it had already connected to my phone and my tablet. So it's like, okay, I'm done.
Right.
Like, no.
Nope. I need a third device. And these actually support a third device. They have Google Fast Pair if you're in the Android ecosystem. And they have Auracast. They've got everything. And the price, it's not insane. $300. And unlike most things at CES, available right now. You can go to Amazon right now and buy these things. So,
I mean, $300 does seem like a high ticket price for buds. Over the ear, that's like over the ear prices.
Right. It is. Yeah,
But
when you compare it to AirPods Pro and Google Pixel Buds Pro that are both about $250, you are paying more. But for, earbuds that sound this good,
Yeah.
I mean, they'll for sure sound better than both of those devices we just mentioned. So,
yep,
might be worth it. Might be worth it. All right, the last one I just wanted to call out because it has one unique feature. Audio-Technica has some new earbuds. Try to remember this model number: the ATH CKS 50TW2. Should be no problem at all remembering that. I'm not even going to put it in the show notes because I'm sure everybody will remember it. I'm just kidding. Yeah. There'll be a link in the show notes. What's impressive about these, they're earbuds. They have ANC. If you have the ANC off, 25 hours of battery life from one charge. This is not that gimmicky crap where it's like, oh, well, if you recharge them over and over again in the case, then you'll get 25 hours. No, this is 25 hours from one charge. That's crazy. That's like 2.5 times some of the best available headphones out there.
Yeah, that's wild.
And with ANC on, 15 hours, which is still more than double most other earbuds out there.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they're doing this, but that's pretty impressive. Again, a little bit pricier, partly because of that. They're going to be $150, which if they don't have all, like, I don't know. I don't know a ton about Audio-Technica earbuds and how great their ANC is. And, do they have all of these other features of the Techniques? Surely not. But also not, they're half the price of the Techniques that we just mentioned and have far better battery life. All right, that's it for our audio stuff. Richard, you're there, you're on the floor, you've been in multiple buildings. What are some of the other cool things you've seen?
Yeah, it's been a really good show. We talk each year about how everybody talks as if they're disappointed because there isn't anything that's mind-blowing. There isn't anything that's revolutionary. But I asked myself, was there anything good? Is there anything that's intriguing? Is there anything that's much better than it was before? And I'm seeing technology that we cover and that I cover in the smart home improved in really practical ways that I think is intelligent use of R&D dollars that might actually benefit consumers in ways that you might not normally think of. Seeing battery technology, like in that television that we talked about. Battery technology is being used in devices in really clever ways to help people be off grid, to give people flexibility, like with that television, to allow people to have access to certain appliances or products that they otherwise might not be able to. This is not directly related to this show, but I saw a stove today that was heating buns and cooking meatballs. It was unplugged. It was an induction stove with a 5 kilowatt hour battery in it. So that it can operate if you lose power. But that's not why that's cool. Why that's cool is that if it's designed to operate on battery, and induction stoves normally require a 220 connection, this doesn't. It just plugs into your wall in a regular 120 outlet or 110 outlet because it just has to charge the battery.
Right.
It's ways of using technologies that we had to enhance products in a way that make them much, much more useful and approachable for consumers. That has really impressed me about what's happening at CES this year. So, as far as screens, I saw some interesting outdoor TVs. We're seeing a lot of technology geared toward outdoor life, toward camping, toward using your yard as another living space. There was one television that it's IP65 rated. They demoed it with literally just having water pouring down on top of it the entire time while they're showing it, and it's playing a movie or something.
Because I'm going to sit out in the pouring rain and watch a movie on my deck.
Well, that's not the point. Is that it's not going to be damaged outside. Right. And 110 inches.
Oh,
I think it is the largest outdoor television that you can buy for a home.
It's got to be. Like, there aren't that many televisions that are over 100 inches.
It's really, really impressive. So anyway, stuff like that. I think it's been a really good show. I'm very, very glad that I came, and I'm happy to be back. Like we said, this is the first time I've been back since 2020. And I hope next year we can both be here together.
Yeah, here's hoping. Awesome. Well, like I said, we'll be doing a separate, I don't know about because probably not Richard, but there will be a separate episode for all of the gaming news coming out very soon. Richard, do you want to quickly hit on what's going on in entertainment centers, or do you want to discuss next time?
No, we can absolutely throw this in real quick. So, I'm traveling, so that means I'm using mobile devices for consumption, mostly, not entirely. Before I left, I finished Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, the second season of that. Really enjoyed that. Edward and I have been watching that and are happy to see that there's going to be a season 3 coming. Not quite sure how I'm going to watch season 3 because I canceled my Amazon Prime subscription. And it ends. Oh, look at that. Today's the 9th. Today.
I mean, you can subscribe to just Amazon Prime Video. So you could do that instead of paying for a full Amazon Prime subscription if you just wanted to watch season 3 of this when it came out.
Yeah, and I should check because we have Amazon Prime Business for the rental, and there's a possibility. I don't know if Prime Video comes with Prime Business or not. I'll need to look into that or whatever. But anyway, continuing to reduce my Amazon footprint. While I was traveling, I finished Lower Decks, and that's the end of Lower Decks. That's the end of the 5th season. That's the end of the series of Lower Decks. The last few episodes of this season were just so much fun, so much fan service. They got a lot of familiar voices to come back and reprise their characters for either cameo roles or participating in the episode. So I really, really enjoyed this season. This has been such a fun Star Trek show, and I'm kind of bummed to see it end. But that was great. We watched a movie called The Holiday. This is almost 20 years old. It's a Christmas-themed movie, and I can't believe we'd never seen it before. It was really nice. It was cute. Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet and Jude Law and I can't remember the other guys. Jack Black. But enjoyable, fun rom-com. Then we went back to watch a couple old episodes of Bewitched because we were watching them before, and they were on Roku TV. Notice I used past tense when I said that, because as of January 1, they are not anymore.
Nope.
So now they're not anywhere. I don't know when they'll show up anywhere, if they'll show up anywhere. I mean, at some point in time, they will show up again somewhere. But thank you, licensing. They're currently unavailable, and I have no idea where I'd be able to find those. I finished the book, The House in the Cerulean Sea, that I had read on your recommendation. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It's so good.
I want to read more by this author now. It's just I was really impressed, and I don't normally read fiction, let alone this kind of fiction, which is kind of like family friendly, fun, almost fantasy stories.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, like when
absolutely
I was
loved.
reading it, I was picturing animation in the style of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I don't know why. It feels like
I
it
could
could be
see
that
that.
kind of movie.
Well, and these would make for an interesting. Well, this book would make for an interesting movie,
Yeah.
and this author's done other books that sound like they are. I don't know if you've read other stuff from this author.
No.
Sound like they'd be somewhat similar or in similar worlds. So I think this could translate to movies pretty well if this is becoming more popular.
There was supposed to be a sequel to this. It might already be out.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I'm gonna have
to
look
check.
that.
But now I have to go back and we're reading Revenge of the Tipping Point for work now. So with my client team book club. So I will be reading that next.
Okay, back to the workbooks.
Yeah, exactly. That's it for me. How about you, Josh?
Not a ton on the gaming side, a little bit of Diablo, a little bit of Call of Duty. On movies, and I'm back to doing a lot more running on my treadmill. So I'm looking for things to watch while I'm running on longer distances. And I thought, all right, I've got Max now. Let's take a look at what Max has got that I haven't seen and that I've been wanting to watch. So I started Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think is what it's called. That is a movie that I'd been interested in for a while. I think I even attempted to watch it on your Plex server, but you've mentioned before 4K movies in your Plex server don't really get along. So that didn't work out. So I've mentioned before, my treadmill situation is weird. I'm plugging my iPad into a USB-C dock that has an HDMI port that goes into a computer monitor. And I've had issues with Amazon Prime Video where it doesn't actually fill the whole screen. Richard, what I think I'm discovering here is that my use case is apparently unusual. There might not be very many other people doing something like this, because I think most of these content providers aren't really testing this sort of thing. So I got, 15 minutes into the movie, and it just stopped and wasn't showing up on my computer monitor anymore.
Oh, wow.
So I had to unplug it, plug it back in, press play, and I'm like, maybe it was just a one-time glitch. No, it happened again a few minutes later. On top of that, and despite that, I was like, I'm gonna stick through this. I want to see this movie. I actually did this 2 separate days, dealing with this thing cutting out at least twice each time I was watching. I don't think I love this movie. I just don't get why it got all of the great reviews that it got. It's just it's weird. And
how far in are you?
45, at least 45 minutes in.
Keep going. The start of this movie is very, very weird. It becomes very wonderful.
I'm okay. Because I'm to the point where she's now figured out how to do the thing that she can do.
Right.
But okay. But
it's good.
I don't think I'm going to watch it anymore on the treadmill because it's a very frustrating experience.
It ultimately is a wonderful family and friendship story. So I would push forward on it.
Okay. I'm actually grabbing my iPad because this morning I didn't want to deal with that anymore. So I grabbed that and I was like, let's try Netflix. Oh, now I remember. Netflix has the Dune movies. Who knew?
Really?
I thought they would only be on Max. Nope, they're on Netflix. So I started watching the second Dune movie this morning. And
good.
as expecting, I'm really liking it. So I guess I'll probably give Everything Everywhere All at Once another try later, but not until I finish Dune and not while running anymore. On TV, we're all caught up on Silo. It's so good. Lions football, so good. That last game is great. I finished watching Severance season 1. I'm really glad I rewatched it because I'm just not good at remembering shows. And there were a lot of really important things that I did not remember. So now I am ready for season 2, which starts any day now.
Yeah.
I remember it being January. But
that punchline in the last episode is important.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a big deal. You know what also might be important? I don't know, anything that happened in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 1, because we also sat down to start Season 2 this weekend, and Jen and I were both like, I don't really remember Season 1 super well. I bet they'll have a really good, recap at the beginning of Season 2. There is no recap at the beginning of Season 2. They're just like, you better remember. Because we're not going to hold your hand.
They drop you right into it. Did you get further than that first episode?
No, and we unfortunately didn't even end up having time to finish the first episode. So I think we're going to stop. Obviously, I mean, we already did stop. Find a good recap of season 1, watch that real quick, and then at least finish episode 1. We're not giving up on it, but we're kind of struggling to remember some kind of important things. We were like, wait. Oh, yeah, that's Sauron, maybe?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. We were in exactly the same boat. Lost in the first episode. The first 3 episodes, because stuff's moving along and you feel a little bit lost, are a bit of a slog.
Mm.
And I would say stick with it because mid-season, it gets really, really good.
Okay. And man, does it look great.
A refresher is definitely useful. They do get better at giving previously on cuts that do go back to season 1 to help you remember. And they even have a couple, not in my opinion enough, but a couple flashbacks to help with that too.
Okay. And they even have, we started, because there's a specials section or whatever, and they have trailers. And I'm like, well, let's just watch the trailer for season 2. That'll for sure give us some inkling of what happened. Nope. It's just a trailer for season 2. Yeah. Come on, Amazon, help us out here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube that's done a season 1 recap.
I'm sure. So we'll be doing that before we go back to that show. And then I think I mentioned on the last podcast that I had started reading the book, The Manager's Path. I'm not quite done. It is very good. If you're in software development at all, even if you're not sure if you want to become a manager, if you're a software engineer at all, read this book because it does give you a much better explanation of what all of the different levels can be, what they actually are, and might help guide you in that career path if that's what you're doing. So check that book out. But that's it for what's going on in my entertainment center. That's it for this first episode of the things that we're seeing out of CES. We'll have more coming up soon. If you want to get a hold of us, we're on various socials. I'm at Josh Pollard on Twitter and Blue Sky, far more on Blue Sky than anywhere else. Website is at DigiMediaZone on Twitter. Richard is at Richard Gunther on Mastodon. And is it richardgunther.com on Blue Sky?
It is indeed.
Okay, I need you to be dual posting, Richard, because I want to talk to you on Blue Sky, not on Mastodon.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just started on Blue Sky. My follow count is so low, so I'm still primarily posting thought kind of stuff on Mastodon and using Blue Sky primarily for, as I was saying before, maker interactions and that sort of stuff. But
right.
I mean, the dual posting is going to be hard. I'm going to have to figure this out at some point. I've met a lot of really cool people on Mastodon that are staying on Mastodon, and
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Richard, you mentioned a little bit that you're seeing a lot of smart home devices at CES.
Yeah.
So probably a Home On episode coming soon.
Believe it or not. In fact, I had the pleasure of not only recording the Smart Home Show with Adam in person here on the floor, and CES hooked us up with a really nice private recording booth this time. We weren't out in the middle of the open like we are fighting with loudspeakers across the hall. We had our own space. It was wonderful. And then when we finished that, Jimmy Hawkins and I recorded a new episode of Home On.
Nice.
So very excited. I will be trying to get that out in a week's time.
Nice. Looking forward to that. All right. Well, that is going to do it for episode 673. He's Richard Gunther, and I'm Josh Pollard. Thanks for listening to Entertainment 2.0. Adios.
Goodbye.
It's like we're new to this.
I know, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Man. Okay.